Thank you guys so much. Welcome to More Issues in Essence. I'm your girl, S.O. Colvin, and I hope that our issues can solve your problem. So I want everybody to introduce themselves. You can just say your name and where you're from. Who's first? Phil?
I'm Phil. I'm from Virginia. I now live in Atlanta.
All right, I'm Tay. I'm from Atlanta and I live in Atlanta.
I'm Jackie. I'm from Ohio and I live in Ohio.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Imani. I'm from Atlanta. I live in LA.
Man, you guys have cool places.
Who's next?
Can y'all hear me?
We can.
Okay, yep. This is Trent. I am from South Carolina and I live in LA. Atlanta. Wow.
Trying to be in LA?
Okay, right.
Hey, that might be the
Moving to
next
Atlanta.
move. I don't know.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys again for your participation. So we're going to jump right in. With everything happening right now, I guess with the George Floyd incident being the catalyst for the riots and protesting, I want to know how you guys feel, not just about this incident, but from the deeper issue, which is police brutality in the Black community. So this whole idea of Black Lives Matter, the movement, do you think it really matters? Do you think it's going to make a difference?
I believe absolutely, as long as we can stick to it. You know, a lot of times, since Trayvon Martin, a lot of times that's when the Black Lives Matter movement began, and it expanded. But I feel that we wouldn't probably be um as angry or in this position right now if we would have stuck to it back in those years. You get what I'm saying? So I really feel that absolutely, like, as long as we stick to it and we actually make strides and move with intention with every bit, with every step that we take, we move with intention, we will definitely see different changes. Look at the world. We've already impacted the world. Like, I was looking at New Zealand, Alaska, Paris, all these different places, and this is the biggest we've ever became, you know what I'm saying? And we're making a huge, we're calling out even our own people for not supporting us. So I feel like this is a major step. Way major step. So yeah.
I definitely agree. Does anybody else have anything to say? No? Ooh, listen, y'all, we're not gonna be shy on more issues than that. We're gonna talk about it, okay?
I'll jump in, Essence. I think just overall, man, it was the boiling of the tipping point. We've struggled and we've gone through this for so many years. And I think our generation specifically, with COVID going on, with the job market being the way it was, it's like not only were we trapped inside for the past 3 months, but to top it off, you see injustice still going on. Like, you throw someone in a cage and you ruffle them up a little bit, they're going to act a fool. So I think leading up to it, there was so much going on in the world. It's almost to the point to where we have nothing to lose. So it's like, why not fight for everything we've seen go on for the past century? Why not now? But the main thing now is just to continue, like she said, like Tay said, continue to put the pressure on them, not just on the others, but ourselves as well. I see it with my timeline. Like, I'll preach one day, like, yo, justice for Breonna Taylor, and the next day still see people with their selfies. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, beneath that selfie, hashtag Breonna Taylor one time, hashtag George Floyd. I think we have to keep that momentum going, because out of sight, out of mind. You know how our generation is. It's like, yo, y'all heard that new J. Cole? Yo, y'all heard that new 6ix9ine? And it's over.
Yeah, we're very popcorn. We're very like here and then it's gone. Exactly. So, but I do agree with that. If you're gonna kind of take the attention away from what's really going on right now, and if you want to post about whatever else, hashtags can help. You know what I mean? You're still drawing awareness in some way, shape, or form. So does anybody have any personal experiences with police brutality that you're willing to share?
I've had it. When I turned 18, I'm just be real brief with it and not drawing out. But when I was 18, that's not necessarily physical abuse, but verbal abuse. I was at a point where I had just turned 18, just had graduated high school, and I was actually on my way to the Air Force at the time. We're trying to, get into the Air Force, and I was stopped on a traffic stop for a broken tail light. I was a passenger. I was in the passenger seat, so for a broken tail light for a car that wasn't even mine. And just long story short, they tried to pin a drug charge on me. And it was super crazy because of the simple fact, like, for one, it wasn't my car. The person that was driving, neither one of us had stated that that we owned it. So, from watching cops and from, knowing general information, I just knew, like, okay, well, if neither one of us say that it's ours, they usually say both. But it was more so like they only looked at me. I mean, and I knew that from a sense because they actually told my friend who was driving that she can leave. They were pushing her to leave, like, no, you just need to go ahead and go pick up your mom. We'll escort you. They had brought 2 cops out, so they was like, well, one of us will escort you. Just leave her here. So long story short, they put me in the back of a cop car. They had put handcuffs on me before they even searched the car. They put handcuffs on me for investigational purposes. And come to find out, they planted, they said it was crack, but I wound up getting locked up a month later because they told me they wanted to make me an informant. So they let me go that day, told me, hey, well, we want you to be an informant for crack. And I was like, I don't know where to get that from. This is not what I do. And they was like, well, no, you're gonna do it. So he gave me a piece of paper with his number on it and was like, yeah, call me in the morning. If you don't call me in the morning, I'm gonna send out a warrant for your arrest. Well, of course I didn't call because I didn't know anything about it. And like I said, I'm just giving y'all the short version, but literally a month later, that happened in January of 2014, February of 2014, I was, my house was surrounded by 16 cops and I was arrested at 12 p.m. that day. And when I got to jail, they actually said, instead of it being crack like they said that was on the field, they wound up bumping it up to methamphetamine, and I was facing 10 years in prison.
Wow.
And so why I call it verbal police brutality, because my friend had mentioned to them that, we don't do drugs. That's something that we don't do. They asked, and she was like, no, that's something that we don't do. And plus, she's going to the airport, so she wouldn't do that anyway. So when she opened up that information towards him, he was like, oh, okay, cool. So when he put me in the cop car that day, he told me, literally, he looked me in the face and he was like, I want you to know that I'm finna fuck your life up with this. Literally, straight like that. And that's how I knew, like, oh, this is not about the drugs. It's not about anything. It's about who I am and where that I have dreams and that I have goals. And it's also skin color, because it was 2 white cops, and he was like, I really want you. Like, I want to fuck your life up. He was like, and I want you to know, I don't want you to go to the airport.
Wow.
He was like, yeah, you're gonna do, I want you to do this time. And I was like, dang. So it took me a year, which it took me a year to get a job. It took me a year to go on trial. It was so much going on, and I'm 18, so of course I couldn't go to the Air Force. That was definitely no go. And I couldn't get a job because they had already put a pending felony on my record. So when you pulled up my background check, it said felon. So that was it. So yeah, I went through that, and I still go through the effects from it. I still, because the simple fact, like, I'm like, now I look at it like, dang, I don't want to get in nobody's car that I don't really know like that, because I'm nervous of what they got in their car. I'm always like, oh no, we'll meet there, or we'll drive it, because I'm just super nervous about what's in people's car and what could happen and things like that. Like, they told me the reason why they took me is because I was in arm's reach of the material. Just not because I touched it or not because it was on my person, but I was in arm's reach. So that's the reason why they picked me out.
That's
so yeah, I still go through some
I'm
of the
so
effects
sorry
for
that
sure.
happened to you.
I don't know. Look, it made me such a better person, to be honest with you. And even though it's such a dark time, because I'm looking at it like, that's why I go so hard. And Essence, we talk all the time, so the business and stuff like that I'm doing. And that's why I go so hard in it, because it's like, if they were that bold to try to tarnish my name, I'm gonna be that bold to go out for my dreams. Absolutely. And make sure that I am known and that Taylor Fish becomes the household name, because you're gonna know, that's the girl that I tried to lock up. That's the girl life I told that I was gonna fuck up. So now, I done did a whole 180 on y'all. So
yeah,
it changed me for the better, but it also still affects me in certain ways.
I get it. I think those experiences are so traumatizing for us, because yours may be firsthand. We may hear from a friend or even viewing it on our timeline. Sometimes it just becomes so overwhelming. And super small things could be a trigger. Like you said, somebody saying, hey, I want to hang out. And you're like, yo, maybe I should just meet you there. People aren't even realizing the small things that, well, what you've been through, and that small question that they're asking could, you know, completely change the face of your interaction. Does anybody else have any situations that they've been in regards to police brutality? Hi, all of our late joiners. Nobody else?
You didn't have to call us out like that, though.
Just a little
I
bit, you know.
mute my screen. I'm like, wait, wait a minute. Hey, guys.
So growing up, I've heard the quote that says, you know, how integration was one of the worst things that we could have done. Do we agree with that? In the sense of, there was a point in time where we had our own types of things, you know, our own banks and grocery stores and whatever, like, you know what I mean? We had our own thing without trying to fight to be in a, you know what I mean, in a class that wasn't going to serve us anyway. So do you guys think integration was, you know, a positive thing for us? Or do you think it kind of set us back and we didn't realize?
Because it's interesting that you said that. I think it was a mistake? No, because we had gotten to a point where it was already bad for us. Like, it was bad for us.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a right in legislation that was in print. So I feel like in order for us to have been to where we are now, we needed to fight for those basic rights that just allow us to get a job, allow us different opportunities. Now, the system was never designed for us, so we're always going to be at the low end. And because we got ourselves out of the system that had been around for so long, I think that kind of gave them a vengeance on us to go harder. So the KKK never died. It just went more. So then you went to a period where you don't have technology, you don't have social media, we don't have, but these things are happening a lot. Just that nobody is seeing it. So if you're personally affected, you're not gonna know about it. The system and slavery and what they did and how they chose certain people, you're better than them, and the mental abuse that they put on us, naturally, Black people are guarded. We have a loyalty to self, sometimes family, but we're also very divided as a whole. So to just answer the question, no, I don't think that it was a move. I think that we are at a very interesting point where we have an opportunity to get in, and we have to do what we have to do today. There is no more time. When they gave us rights, we said, okay, and we'll play your game, right? We stuck for what we knew. The bad stuff that happened over there, at least it didn't affect my life. Hopefully you'll get a payout. If not, that's just how things are. It is what it is. Then COVID hits. Everybody's no distractions. You don't have a job. And if you do have a job, you still don't have a job. Because working from home, you can get around and you can do what it is that you want to do. So the minute we got out, we see it blatantly in our face. It's been so many times, but it was just like the last straw. Like, y'all really playing with us. And at this point, we ain't got nothing to do because we don't have that Monday through Friday distraction that takes up 12, 15 hours of our day where we have to be so focused on what we need to do to get to the next level. We didn't have any of that. We had unemployment, we was taken care of, so we had time. I think what's really important now is we have to create that ally. We have an opportunity with these Gen Z millennials who grew up with us. So some who grew up around, they weren't as blatantly as racist as their upbringing. Now, you still have the parents who instilled certain values in them, but I think it's now our time to weed out who we can weed out, because that's how you're gonna break privilege, when you can get somebody who's on your level. White privilege is up here, not because they are superior, but because that's how the system is made. And we're not just yet at dismantling the system. That's what we're trying to get to. In order to work our way up through there, you're gonna need that representation that can get you in the house. It's never how you get a job. You have somebody who you call on them, boom, I got a job now too. So we have those people in the house, not their grandkids. And we can change their perspective. You can't change somebody's perspective, but you can influence it. You can educate, you can do all that stuff. And then on top, have your people who fighting for actual legislation, like, now y'all not finna do this. We get the right people out of the house and put the right people in, or they fucked up then because they let us in. So we have to have that integration piece. I know it's annoying and we don't want to educate them now. We want to be mad at them, but I'm having to really say, all right, it's the KKK motherfuckers that's still alive and still doing the shit they're doing us today. And we already knew this. They blend in as police officers. So I'm going to do my work. It's working the system. Who can I get close to? They always say, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. So the white people who are going to let us get close, let's get close. But I'm going to need you to step up. You can't just be close and I can be your token. You can steal my culture. I can put you on. I can make you fly. I can do all that good stuff for your life. I can put some flavor into your life. No, you got to step up with me. You got to be on my team on that end. So I think that's why integration wasn't a mistake. It was a blessing. We just need to know how to leverage it and how to use it for our own good. Really fuck that shit up. Because once we have that, excuse my language, once we dismantle this system, oh, it's over with. So, I used to be mad that Donald Trump was president, but thank you. Because see, now you got Republicans out the game. That's wild. They feel for us now because they're in a position where it's like, hold on, what is happening? What is this single man influencing against this world? They could turn a blind eye. You can't turn a blind eye anymore. And it's not benefiting them anymore. Because we're standing up saying, okay, well, we're not going to work for you. We're not going to give you flavor. Hold up, wait a second. We didn't say that. That's what these companies are doing. Oh, Aunt Jemima, we're going to change the face. It's been racist, and you knew it was racist. Come on. But you don't want us to stop eating it. That's where our power. So sorry I get long-winded, but.
No, you're okay. You're
that
okay.
was dope. That
all
was
about
amazing.
We want you to have a conversation. But that's a great intro to where I'm going with this whole thing. So we see corporations jumping on the Black Lives Matter movement. We see it on the front of every Netflix, Hulu, whatever app you're using, whatever game you're on. Like, we see them saying, we're here for you, we support blah, blah, blah. But do you feel like it's not authentic? It's okay, you know what, I'm kind of hopping on the trend train of saying Black Lives Matter, so you kind of, you know what, I'm really not going to eat at Chick-fil-A anymore because they support Trump, but I might eat at, I don't know, Popeyes, because when I click on their website, it's all Black now and it says, we're standing for you, come get a 2-piece. You know what I'm saying? So like, is it authentic, or do you feel like it's just something to do now? Because in my opinion, I feel like people are kind of just now seeing us. We've been Black, we've been here, we've been going through all of this, but it took this situation for now corporations to be like, oh, you know what? I think I see you now. Oh, Juneteenth? Have that on off, my brother. Like, I feel like it's just not genuine to me. Now, how do you guys feel?
No, I definitely agree for sure with that, because I feel like it's I feel like some of it is genuine and some of it is like it's becoming a trend, and it's like, this is not a trend, this is our life. This is who we are. I mean, now you got Black Lives Matter cars. Like, I was just in Walmart and like Skittles has packages with Black Lives Matter on it. And I'm like, and it's like, and they took the rainbow off. It's just straight black and white. And it says something like, we can't be, there's no color, we can't be equal, or we don't see color, something like that it says. And I'm like, it's seeming like it's becoming a trend instead of like, be outside with us, if that makes sense. It's like, okay, well, even like with Netflix, everything is just Black Lives Matter. They even gave us a Black Lives Matter section. And I'm like, what is this? You feel me?
Yeah, I don't think they're understanding.
Sorry.
You're okay. I don't think they're understanding the issue is police brutality. Can we like fix that thing? Like, let's deal with that. Not, hey, Black person, I see you, let me make AirPods Black now. Like, no, it's deeper than that. I don't like that.
So I'm a little indifferent about it. I agree with both of you all. And then I'm also like, there's some type of, I guess, research that needs to go behind it, because some of these companies already have these affinity groups and employee resource groups and things like that within their company. And it may not be up front and in your face on the website and everything like that, but it doesn't mean that they're there. And because of, it doesn't mean that they're not there. And because of, the situation with George Floyd that pretty much heightened everything, it's like, okay, well, now it's like, all right, let's put this in the forefront, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't there. Some companies are doing a lot though. It's like the Skittles packet. I didn't even know that that's a lot, but,
For real.
Yeah, but some of the but some companies I do believe are truly genuine with it and the things that they're doing as far as like, okay, well look, they may or may not can't fix police brutality, but this is what I can do, so this is what I'm going to do. Like I wholeheartedly I'm gonna go buy some Ben and Jerry's right now. Like I was like, yes, Ben and Jerry, yes, get us together.
But they've always been like, you know what I mean? They've always been like active.
Exactly. They've
but
always
Skittles always been like, you know.
No, but we don't know what they've been doing with like for people that don't like. If you don't work for Skittles, you don't know what they've been doing in the company. So that's the only thing that I'm saying as far as like it would have to be some research done behind it. Because even with Chick-fil-A saying like, oh, they support Trump, but Chick-fil-A also has franchises that are owned by individual people, that are owned by Black owners. So it could be like, well, I'm gonna support this specific Chick-fil-A because I know it's gonna support my homegirl that owns this Chick-fil-A. So I think it's just a matter of trying to do that research before we can't, because like we are definitely in a canceling season.
Right, canceling.
So everybody on the chopping block. So I think it's a matter of doing some research behind it before we do everybody out, on top of like trying to instead of just seeing what you see on social media and actually really deciding for yourself if that's genuine enough for you to decide whether or not if they doing too much or not. But I do agree with the Skittles, they doing a
lot. Does anybody work for a company that is doing something to make a difference with Black Lives Matter currently?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, great. And what are they doing to support the cause?
So we're like donating like 10 mil or something like that to support organizations for Black Lives Matter, and we're doing like some matching donation for every donation that employees do. But I mean, I'm kind of, I don't know. I just feel like this is happening just because at the end of the day, we about to be hitting their pockets if we don't. Like at the end of the day, it is canceling season. I've been working for said company for a minute, and it is a well-known company. And at the end of the day, like working for the company, you kind of have to like bottle in a lot of stuff. Like it's not a lot of, I don't know, I guess you can't really voice your opinions a lot when it comes to just being African American. And like a lot of things we weren't recognizing. Like for tomorrow, for example, we never recognized Juneteenth, but tomorrow we're doing no meetings on Juneteenth. We're recognizing this as a holiday. Okay, so now you want to recognize it. What about all the times before that? You know, so I mean, in my opinion, I'm calling BS. Like you're just saying that because at the end of the day, you know, we're part of your bottom line. So if we cut you off, then you're gonna be hurt too. So I mean, personally, I don't believe anybody. Like none of the corporations. Like I think we just need to get our own and be done with it.
Are you all willing to withdraw your dollar, your Black dollar?
I don't need them.
Personally, are y'all willing to take it away?
Yeah, and that kind of goes back. I'm sorry, I'm going back just a little bit. You asked if integration was wrong. I'm torn between the two. At the end of the day, I believe we need to infiltrate the system because there's stuff that we don't know. At the end of the day, there are jobs that we need to obtain, is like knowledge that we need to get, jargon that we don't know at the end of the day. So yes, we had to have some sacrificial lamb to do that. But in the end of the day, I believe that integration stifled us when it came to our entrepreneurship, our creativity. And I think it boxes into certain lanes that we feel like we have to be in order to get to a certain place. So we don't have a lot of businessmen out here. We have a lot of athletes. We have a lot of musicians. We have a lot of this. We have like a lot of entertainment. We have all those things, but that's not the only thing we can do. We're so much more creative and so much more talented than everything that I believe like integration at the end of the day is stifled out a little bit because at the end of the day, all the money that's being generated is from us. Like everything comes from the culture. Literally everything comes from our culture. So like, yeah, we needed to bridge that gap a little bit by going in there, but I don't think we need to just stay in as long as we have. And I think at the end of the day, we needed this to break away.
But I have a question. Can you really break away though? Can we really pull our Black dollar that it's gonna affect them?
Yeah, if you monopolize that dollar and turn it into businesses that are for ourselves. So you're telling me like Asians, they do the same thing, or you have people of a different descent and different races. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, they monopolize this. This person monopolized that section. We don't have anything that's monopolized. Like, if anything, we do, but people are making money off of it. So what is something that we own that is solely for us in our race? Not to say that we need to like at the end of, like I said, I'm torn, because at the end of the day, like, I'm a God-fearing man. At the end of the day, we need people. Like, he doesn't call for division, but at the same time, like, we can't just be a cash cow and then also be killed for that same exact power that we have inside of us. So
I understand, and I'm definitely
I
with you.
agree.
I'm gonna call some people out because we're a little quiet over here. Miss Alexis, are you with us?
I am.
Hey,
Hi.
girl. Hey.
Hey.
Everybody say hey, Alexis.
What's up, Alexis?
Hey, Alexis.
Guys.
Hi. So I definitely want to hear from you as well, girl. Thank you for participating. So growing up for you, growing up for you, did you have any fear of like police growing up?
So, no, I mean, I'm half black and half white. My dad's black, my mom's white. I've always, like, the city that I grew up specifically, most of like the kids my age grew up, we all looked very like similar. You know, most of us were like either mixed or either Cape Verdean, which is an island off the west coast of Africa, and like Cape Verdeans tend to be, they come in all different shades, but a lot of us were like light skinned in the city where I was from. So I definitely have been like white passing my whole life. So I also didn't have any like identity issues, and I didn't ever like have any fear of police or anything like that. Or yeah, I don't think that I did.
Jackie, what about you, love?
Having any issues with like the police growing up?
Just like a fear. Like, what were you taught about the police growing up? Were they like your friendly neighborhood hero, or were they like, okay, if you see them, you might need to just become invisible for a second? Like, what were you taught?
So honestly, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I feel like it was kind of half and half, but I think that it was like that just because of like where I grew up and going to public school in the city. Like, our schools were so diverse that, when you would hear things about people being pulled over or things happening with police, like at that point in time, and again, this would be like my white privilege coming out. Like, for me, it was just like people, like that was happening to people. So if it was happening to people, it could happen to me. It wasn't, I don't think that I even realized until maybe I was 15 when I started dating my ex-husband. And his mom had an issue with us dating, that there was even, still anything happening as far as between race. Just because like my parents always treated my friends just like they treated me. My friends' parents always, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't talked about, I guess. But that was kind of.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I say that's just kind of like how it was for us. Like, it happened to people, so why wouldn't it happen to me?
I got you, Mr. Phil. What about yourself? What about yourself? What were your lessons growing up about the police?
Man, as a young black male, just F12. That's how we're conditioned. Just because we see, even if you don't directly grow up with it, you see it on movies. Growing up watching like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. I remember watching movies and even seeing black police officers doing it to us. So it's not even like we were afraid of, white police officers or police officers that didn't look like us. It was F12 because, if you're in the hood, if you're in your neighborhood, if you're anywhere, the moment they see you, they're going to get you for something, anything, just being black. And the fact that still remains today, it's crazy. I always find myself reading that case of like Tamir Rice that was in a park with like a BB gun or something. If it was a white kid with a BB gun, people would be like, oh, that's cute, look at him. Maybe he's practicing hunting or something like that. But because he's a kid of color, boom, he's a threat. And that just goes for all of us. And it's just crazy that it's like that. It was a double standard. But even to this day, like I find myself, I've never had any issues with the law, but the moment I see those lights behind me, I'm nervous. I'm not afraid, I'm not paranoid, but it's nerves because it's like anything can happen. You don't want to be a hashtag. You don't want to end up like the thousands of other brothers where it happens to them. So it's just paranoia more than anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's actually another question that I have. If I could have a show of hands, or just for those who don't have, that aren't on video right now. Um, are you guys afraid of the police? Is anybody like afraid of the police system?
Damn.
Courtney?
Yeah.
She
about
like,
that,
I am. I mean, I don't know, not afraid. I'm just more so like,
Cautious.
yes, that's the word.
Because I ain't scared, because at the end of the day, it's a uniform. Everybody get up and you put on whatever you got to put on for work, and that's your uniform.
Right.
But because they're still people. So I'm not necessarily scared of you, but I'm very cautious because of, I'm black, and y'all out here killing us. So, yeah.
Right. And then I kind of feel like I don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, but it's kind of like, I don't even know what to do. Like, if I get pulled over, I'm like, you can't even, because now they're planting guns on you, or, you know what I'm saying? Or like the Roger guy, like, it's a video of them picking up the bullets. Like, they were already planning on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sweeping up under the rug, like, it never happened. So it's just like, you just really don't know what to do, because, you know, now you put your hands on the dashboard, you put your hands on the steering wheel, it's not enough. So, you know, or when you put your hands up, we all see that. You put your hands up, you still get shot.
Yeah,
you lay it on the ground, you still get shot. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Go around, and I'm going to ask everybody.
You don't care.
Sorry, before we wrap this up, we see that there's a problem. We know where this stems from, where it is right now. We see where we are, and I think we have a vision of where we could be. So I want a suggestion from everybody on what could we do to have a better, more equal America for us all. Let's start with Mr. Phil.
I think it starts with accountability. I think our biggest issue right now is injustice. If person A does one thing and person B does another thing, they should get the same discipline. It should be the same all the way around. That goes for crimes, that goes for injustice, all of that. I think that's our biggest issue right now is, as a black man, I'm driving, I could reach for my wallet, I'm shot dead. As a white man driving, I reach for my wallet, have a good day. That's wrong. And I think that goes back to accountability. We need to be held accountable. Officers need to be held accountable the same way civilians are. Just the same way teachers are held accountable. Lawmakers are held accountable. It comes full circle. So I think that's what accountability.
Miss Imani, I haven't heard from you.
I think what needs to happen is really just, I guess, the people in charge of like the system, like I'm gonna say the white man, quote unquote, really just give back to the Black community and actually look at us as our own community. You know, the system has been built how it has been in the past. So I think Courtney said something earlier, you know, they have the power, like that's how the system is built. So without, you know, them recognizing us as our own people and actually someone who needs to stand in politics and healthcare, whatever it is, we can't do anything. Especially, you know, it's also an issue within our community having our own backs. So, you know, if we don't have our own backs, and then if, you know, the oppressors aren't supporting us, where can we go? So I really think it's really important for us to be recognized by the system, you know, to create our own system.
I agree with that. I think what a lot of us have been saying today is there needs to be unity within us in order for us to grow. You know what I mean? For us to get the change that we want, we all got to come together. And like Phil said, it can't be a hot second thing. We got to, you know, we got to stay on this. If everybody else and all these other small things can be trendy, whether it's celebrity or fashion, us, like we matter enough to consistently be on someone's mind enough to not only be a Black Skittles bag or a Black playlist on Netflix, like it's actual life, you know what I mean? And that is my hope for everybody here and beyond. I hope that we all continue to touch other people, educate and inform them about what's going on so that we can make a change, because y'all, I can't raise no babies in this world. What am I gonna do? I would be terrified to be a parent. I know we have parents on the line right now. I don't know how you do it. Like, what do you tell your children? How do you prepare them, and then how do you ease your mind, parents?
I know for me, it's definitely constant worry. Like, I also like know that he also will have some privileges. And I just want him to know that. But like, I don't have it all down packed. I don't know exactly how I'm going to explain things. Right now we start off with like small books and, you know, just children's books. He's only 3, but like, I do often think about it, but I think it's important, just like you were asking how, like, can we make things better? I think not just on a larger scale, but I think accountability, like right in your family and your close friends, like holding those people accountable, like, and checking like the small microaggression to like the bigger things if you're around for it. Like, I think just checking that and like always holding those people accountable is like extremely important. Because I had a lot of people around my son who hold on, speaking of but yeah, so just like accountability, just not on a just the larger scale, but the smaller scale, people around you, like your close family and friends and stuff.
I got you. I think that's good. What about you, Miss Jackie?
I mean, kind of the same. I feel like you have to do what's best for your kids, because at the end of the day, like, they didn't ask to be here and they're just kids, you know what I mean? So for me, and it's so weird because growing up, my dad never expressed an issue, not that he didn't have an issue, but never expressed an issue with me dating outside of my race. However, apparently it became an issue once I had my son, and you know, he just had to go. Like, we don't have a relationship anymore, we don't talk, but I feel like that's because at the end of the day, like, he's a kid, he deserves everything regardless of, you know, who his parents are or anything like that. And that's also something I've been struggling with, is just like when to have certain conversations with him. So he's 7, and obviously, like, he's smart enough to understand a little bit of like what's going on or what he sees on the news, or like, you know, I've been going to protests, so like he's aware of that as well. So but to like really sit down and explain to him why all that's happening, I haven't quite figured out like the best way to explain that to a 7-year-old.
I get it. Yeah, my mom always told me children don't come with an instruction book. Um, but I applaud both of you all for being great parents and for actually, you know, taking the time to have the conversations, because you're doing your due diligence by building a better, you know, generation. And I think that's very, very important. Does anybody have anything else to say or to add before we wrap this up?
I just wanted to hit on what Courtney and Trent had said. I definitely agree with both of them about the integration. And I definitely agree with you, because you can pretty much sum it up on how we really just need to unite, really. And I mean, you know, and I'm not even just saying blacks, I'm saying all races. I mean, if you like Rihanna said, if you're gonna jam to our music, if you're gonna you know, laugh at our jokes, if you're gonna wear, you know, if you're gonna, you know what I'm saying, really follow our culture, then pull up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all need to unite. I mean, us as black people, I feel like when it came down to integration back then, I feel like it was great. But then again, I still feel like we were, at that time, we were so pressed on being equal with another race, and we weren't even equal with ourselves yet. Like, we were, but we weren't at the same time, because we should have united with one another and established such a solid foundation to where we were rocking with each other regardless. And I feel like we still, you know, because oftentimes we still have that slave mentality of that light skin, dark skin, and all this stuff. And it's like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? We're still tearing down each other as women. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, even if you think about it, like, as far as women, you know, the stipulation of women and men, you know what I'm saying? Women are always going for money. So men think automatically for money. And then that's why you kind of get that unbalance of men thinking that he can buy a woman. Because think about it, in this, in back in, you know, the slavery times, what certain women were really getting close to the money because they knew they didn't want their children to be bothered, they didn't want their children to be sold, and they definitely did not want their children to be hung. So what they did, some of the women were actually okay with messing around with the master because they knew he got the money, we gonna be cool, he gonna be fair skinned, and we gonna be all right. And I personally feel like we should have dropped it a long time ago. We really should have just came together and united first and believed in the beauty and the power of us, of being Black first. Then went ahead and said, okay, now we can get equality from another race. Because we're showing, you got to think, like, you show people how to treat you, just like in a relationship, or, you know, so we should have showed races how to respect us and how to treat us. And I feel we dropped the ball in that. Because we didn't show that.
I think that's a beautiful segue into next week's episode, which would be about colorism. This whole light skin versus dark skin, and how do we unify so we can get rid of that whole thing? Like you said, we're always better and stronger together, and we need to go ahead and get that part together so that we can truly, you know, live our best lives and be our best selves in a better world. I want to thank everybody so much for participating in More Issues Than Essence. I'm your girl, S.O. Colvin, and I'm out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.